Now, I want to explain to you, I'm going to get a little bit on another word here. I want to explain to you why the enemy wants to keep the church quiet. Everybody pay attention.
Okay.
You ready?
We're ready.
Our authority given to us over all the powers of the enemy can only be released when we speak. You cannot.
Oh, wait, say it again, please.
Our authority that Jesus gave to us over all the powers of the enemy can only be released when we speak. You can only rebuke the devil with words. You can only resist him with words. So Satan knows if I can intimidate Christians to shut up, like you said, keep it in your church, do all the shouting, hooping, and singing you want. Don't take it outside the building. If he can get us to that point, then our authority is only released in our worship and preaching inside the four walls. Meaning, I can pray for George, and George can get healed. We can pray for Sue, and Sue can be delivered from oppression. But what good does it do us to only have authority to heal, deliver, to save, set free, and speak in a four-wall building when the harvest is out here?
Right.
If we as believers become silent, what did Mordecai say to Esther? He said, if you are silent at this time, we will suffer. God will raise up somebody in the future that'll save the Jews because he has a covenant with us. But if you shut up and don't go to the king about this issue, we're going to all be dead. And she had to take, you know, in the Medes and Persians, because this guy, if you'll remember, had a problem with his former wife.
Yes, oh yeah.
And she dishonored him, and he said, out of here. I mean, it was instant. The princes were ready to kill her.
Yep.
So Esther knew if I dishonor him or he feels like I've dishonored him, I'm done. I'm cut off. She risked her life to go and stand in front of her husband, who was the king, and say, I want to expose a strategy against people. I am a Jew. You thought I was just a pretty girl that was from I'm a Jew now. I'm going to tell you who I am. So she exposes herself completely. But he loves her so much, the love is there, that he reverses this, and the person trying to destroy them, him and his 10 sons get hung on the gallows prepared for the Jews.
Yeah.
And the point I'm making, this is really something that's been on me for 2 years in my ministry preaching, that the authority over the enemy comes by your words.
So good.
Worship has to be words. Well, I worship God from my heart. I'm quiet. No, you don't. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. If it's in your heart, it's going to come out of your mouth.
Life and death is in the power.
Absolutely. So we have to speak up. We can't get in our four walls. Well, isn't that bad? I'll tell you, that's something. Well, it's really the last days. That's what we're getting from the church. Well, anyway, I got this call from the colonel. He said, he was cussing me, retired colonel. Reverend Stone. Yeah, I tell he was real military the way he's talking. He said, do you realize you gave one piece of information out that should not have gone out? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I said, well, he said, well, you cannot, this was years ago. He said, you can't air that again. I said, no problem. And then we got into a discussion. He was from Harvard and Yale. He went to school there. He went to military school. He just had done everything. And he says this to me, and I want everybody to hear this. And I know he was very sincere when he said this. He didn't have an evil intent when he said it. He said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, government knows you. And I said, oh, I bet they do. And he says, but this is back in the Clinton days. This is how far back this goes. He says, no, they know you're a good person. You're not anti-government. You just try to expose things that need to be exposed. We understand that. But he said, I'm going to tell you something, son. Now, Jim, let's check this out, how this man said this. If you would just get on TV and smile and preach people happy, not be controversial, get out of that prophecy stuff. He said, I guarantee you'd have the biggest following in the world, and the whole world would be eaten out of your hand. And I'm going to tell you what I heard when he said that. I heard the devil talking. And you know what I said to him? I said, sir, God never called me to be popular. He called me to be obedient.
Yes.
Right.
And that's how I feel about it.